Joining us live now is the former CIA Chief of Staff and Hayden Centre Director, Larry Pfeiffer. Larry, good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, so he's waking up, Julian Assange that is, he's waking up in Australia this morning for the first time in some 14, 15 years. How are you feeling about it all?
Well, as you just said a moment ago, he pled guilty to a felony charge of conspiring to obtain and disseminate classified national security information. So that makes me feel good. He was sentenced to 62 months in prison, all of which he had already served in the British prison system. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, justice has been served. Now, would I, as a national security intelligence professional here in the United States, have preferred that he had been put in front of a judge and jury in the United States and perhaps serve some of his jail time here in the U.S.? Sure. But I think the competing interests regarding the protection of sources and methods, competing interests regarding smoothing out any irritants in relations with our good friends in Australia and our good friends in the UK, I think weighed evenly and ultimately came out to be a win-win for everybody.
Okay, so you're not concerned about, Larry, you're not concerned about this being a problem for the Australia-US relationship moving forward?
Well, I think as long as we don't have some strong push from your government to now pardon him, I think we probably will be fine.
Well, there has been some reporting just on that point. There's been some reporting around that.
And I'd be very surprised if this administration were to consider any kind of a pardon at this point. This plea agreement is something that would have been shopped around all of the pertinent government institutions, the intelligence community, State Department, Justice Department, Homeland Security, et cetera. And they would have had to have come to some kind of an agreement to this plea agreement. So I think to now take the next step to pardon would probably be seen by some in that equation as being a betrayal of what they'd agreed to.
Okay. You mentioned in your first answer that justice has been served. Are you satisfied that the sentence in the end was enough?
You know, I honestly believe it is. I think I've even said that if he were to have not fought extradition and come to the United States, the case was one of such complications that he might not even have gotten 62 months if he were found guilty. And in the end, combining the time he put himself in self-exile with the time that he spent in British jail, he probably himself kept himself away from his family and friends and loved ones longer than necessary.
Well, the concern was, as you know, I mean, he was looking at 170 years behind bars. That was the fear. That's why he didn't want to have this court hearing on the mainland. He wanted to do it from, you know, the furthest point of American territory.
Well, sure, but even his own lawyers were telling him that 175 years was not in the cards. That is,
right.
You know, that was the most extreme sentence he could have obtained, and it would have been utterly unprecedented for this first-time offense. And given the, as I said, given the complications surrounding freedom of speech and the extraterritorial nature of the case, I think 5 years is probably about right.
Okay. Hey, Larry, we'll close on this point. You know, what's the legacy in all of this? Is he a heroic journalist, as some are describing, or do you think he is a traitor to the West?
Well, I personally see him as on the spectrum from traitor to the West to God bless him, journalist. You know, I see him on that spectrum a little closer towards the traitor. I see his the way in which he operated was much more akin to a hostile foreign intelligence service than some stalwart member of the Fourth Estate who is out there trying to uncover wrongdoing in a less than criminal fashion.
Okay. Larry Pfeiffer, good to have you with us this morning. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.